my God. I tell you what, folks, there's nothing like a little last minute triage troubleshooting. Try to get things working. I don't know what it is with this piece of equipment, but God, it's just testing my soul. But anyway, it's working now, which means the portal is open and functional, and we're going to dive deep into the world of the strange and the unusual, the worlds of it, actually, because it's not just one world. There's many of them, I'm sure, that we're interacting with here. But I'm trying to move my chair in. Dang chair. Kind of good. There we go. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Kurgan? I thought that was Mick Jagger. Anyway, all right, welcome everybody. I'm Brent Thomas. You are entering the Paranormal Portal right now as we dive into yet another fun adventure. Hopefully you will have a good time. God, I realized I forgot to do something completely. That's just been the way today is going, I'm telling you. It's just been one of those grand adventures, and we're going to end up with a shorter news cycle today. But at any rate, we'll get through it. There's a few things here. I just got to pull up a couple news articles because I was like, hey, I didn't pull up any news. So I was a little remiss in my duties as I was trying to chew on something as far as food quickly while I was working on the show, and then realized I needed to figure out why the hell my buttons weren't working again. So as you can see, it's just been a grand adventure. This one sounds pretty cool. We'll go with that one. Okay. There we go. I just wrangled up some news. Because that's how we roll here, folks. We're always on the cutting edge of innovation and adventure. So let's see what's going on today. Well, it's just me. So it's me and you guys. You guys are my co-host. Feel free, again, throughout the course of the show, if you want to participate in the discussion, at least do your best to capitalize what you want me to see. I'm sure the mods will help me see it as well. So it's just that, as you can see on your screen, this is the way my chat looks. So if you do the @Paranormal Portal, which is great on YouTube, I can see that on their feed, but I'm using a conglomerate chat bot that grabs both Twitch and YouTube chat and puts it in one place, but it kind of ignores a lot of the other stuff. So, and Brent gets on track. Well, it's a pretty twisty track. Sinfully Wicked 67. Hello to you. Thanks for coming in. Nice to have you here. Appreciate it. Wizard, Grandizer, Annie Manul is here. Rachel gets it right, of course. And I'm just looking. He is Harry. I'm Harry. Who's Harry? Who's Harry? I shaved. I shaved today. So, but I'm just looking to see who else is here. Paradox Fossils is in here. Kitty Cattywhack is in here. And I'm scrolling up. We said those names. John Temperance here. Good to see you, John. And Eric Fry is in here. Good to see Eric. And more John Temperin, Eric Fry again, Annie Manul, Aussie Tiprat. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm just trying to scroll up here as I'm looking to see if I've missed any names. Just a lot of troubleshooting right off the bat. John Stevenson is also in here, so good to see you as well. I'm just shouting out the names that I'm seeing that I don't think I've said yet. And that might be it. I think that's everybody, at least that's chatting, but welcome everybody. Whether you chat or not, I'm thrilled that you're here watching the show. We just tipped 100 followers on Rumble tonight, so that was really excellent. I was really thrilled to hit that. Special thanks to Arsenio for jumping on board. Appreciate it. And hope you guys are all having a wonderful weekend. I compared the computer to the Millennium Falcon. And he figured Don is Chewbacca. And he keeps you on track from time to time. Yeah, well, you know, everybody needs their Chewbacca. I can't do a Chewbacca impression. Brent, are you getting gray or is that a tag? Where? I mean, I'm, you know, full disclosure, all my hair is white. I just color it because I don't like looking like a ghost. So, I mean, if that's, hey, Grateful Owl, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. So I don't know where you're seeing a tag. I don't know. I don't know what you're zooming in on there. We serve hard drinks here for men who want to get drunk fast. Well, what do you mean just for men? I know some ladies that can throw back better than a lot of men, so I'm just telling you. But it's great to see everybody. We're going to get to the news, which I just curated moments ago as you were watching. That's how quickly that happened. Again, thank you for your patience as I was dealing with technical issues, but you know, it's a live show, and it's not like I got a ocean of producers here helping me out. It's just me and a computer and a whole lot of baling wire and duct tape. So that's kind of my technology here. But we're going to get to the news. Then don't forget, tonight is Saturday night, so we're going to get into our Discord server and dig up tonight's helping of the Discord question of the week, and we'll see what you guys had to say about that. Chucky Danger served up another excellent question, and we'll dive into that in a little bit. And then I got a couple of cool articles for you. They're a little shorter, but they're very interesting topics that I think you guys will enjoy. And then we'll dive into the cryptids to close it all out. And wherever we get, as always. So, 2017 to 2024 Paranormal Portal. Yeah, here on YouTube, it's been from 2017, but the show has been a reality since 2016, actually. But it was just internet radio to begin with, so it was about the first year of just internet radio, and then I expanded into the YouTubes, and now we're expanding even more into Rumble and Twitch, and also the podcast in 2018. I think we went live with the podcast, if I'm not mistaken. So we're on season 6 of that, if you can believe that. It's just going really quickly. Time flies when you're digging into the strange and unusual. So, hey there, Chucky. How you doing, brother? Thanks for coming in. Anybody else pop in that I missed? I said Grateful Owl's here. Good to see you. And I think, Sinfully Wicked. Yeah, I said that. Spent my birthday today doing some investigating at a very old cemetery. Talked with a 5-year-old who died in the 1800s by falling into a well. That's such a heartbreaker. You know, it really is. Those kind of things are certainly tragic. But yeah, that's a heartbreaker. I can't imagine. Back then, though, I mean, child mortality was a real problem in a younger America. So, and the world there still is an issue in many parts of the world, unfortunately. She loved the REM pod. Yeah, I'll bet. That's really cool. I got a REM pod too, and I've had some really incredible activity on it. It's just really shocking, but those tools are amazing. They really are. How do you get offbeat cinema right now on TV? What? However, we do got offbeat cinema. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means, Grandizer. It's kind of random to me, but I'm just reading pieces of the chat, so I can't really keep up. Good to see you, Kirsten. I'm sure Isaac's somewhere around as well. Good to see you both, if you're both out there. I was just lightening up all the lights. Oh, that's pretty excellent. I was nervous. Full disclosure, I'm not and this is just me. I know that I've had plenty of people tell me, no, you're not right. And you could be right. It's just, I have a hard time buying into the kid spirit thing. I just think, if there is a divine intelligence behind all of this, I can't imagine just leaving these children to wander and to basically be stuck in a cemetery or something. So I hope, if that is the case, I hope it was just visiting and had made it to the that divine realm somehow. It's just hard to imagine. But I've heard so many stories, of course, through the years as well. It starts out with a kid spirit, and then it ends up with scratching and terror and oppression, and then exorcisms. And I think it's a predatory thing, like anything that preys on people. Well, obviously, and it happens in nature. You appear as something harmless, and then when the prey gets close enough, then it's like out comes the claws and stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's the scary part of it. So just be careful. I'm sure you know what you're doing, though. Sinfully, I don't mean to lecture. It's just something that I think is important to mention for anybody listening, that everybody's got kid spirits until it's not a kid spirit, and then it's like, oh no, What have we done? You know, and if you think about it, I do think that in order for a dark entity to really dig into you, it does require some form of surrender. Sometimes that surrender comes in the form of creating fearful events over and over, and you feel powerless and weak. And fear is a surrender. But I think it can also be something innocent and pure. And of course, any normal person is going to want to, take care of this poor child's spirits. If you're a normal, with a normal psychology, all of us, I think, are almost genetically programmed to want to help children. I mean, it's a nightmare to think of a child suffering and being scared and alone for anybody. So of course you just open up. It's like, I want to take care of you. You're home. You can be our family. You can be part of our family. And then, so it's a surrender. It's an opening, and it's a permission, and that's where it becomes, I think, really dangerous. So, yep, I show no fear. I'm respectful, but I can get bossy. Fair enough. I'm sure you know what you're doing. As I said, I don't mean to sound preachy ever, because, who really knows? But I'm sure there are, children's spirits out there. It's just, I think there's other things that pose as children's spirits. So anyway, Paranormal Portal, the whole haunted doll story, Annabelle, I believe. Ah, yeah. Yeah, there you go. Now you're good. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. Brendan, I don't know what horror host TV shows you have in your area. You're out of Minnesota? No, I'm from Minnesota, but I actually live in the north tip of Idaho now. But I'm a lifelong Minnesota resident and moved out here about 10 years ago. So Horror Hotel is out of Cleveland, Lamia, and Horror Hotel. Okay, very cool. It's hard to vet a ghost friend if you want. It's hard to vet a ghost friend if you want one. Yeah, it is. You never know quite what you're dealing with. Don't mean to ignore anyone. Hey, Rosie Loves Learning. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm sorry I didn't see you come in before, but it's great to have a fresh face in here. Thank you. Another fresh face, I should say. It's fun and games till you get your hair pulled. Yeah, isn't that the truth? All right, so we're going to head to the news, and I got 3 articles pulled up, and hopefully they're good, because I literally did it after I started the show. I didn't screen anything. I was like, that one looks good, that one looks good. But again, I was doing troubleshooting. I had a piece of equipment that is just freaking driving me nuts. So, and it's repeatedly driving me nuts over several of the last shows. So I don't know what's going on, but I'll have to work on it on the off days between now and Wednesday. But I guess, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. So get prepared to get newsed up. I'm about to news you up as best as I can. Hopefully you find it informative and entertaining. Let's dive into it. You got it, Eric. It's our nod to Don. Give Don a nod. The brown chicken, brown cow. All right, folks, welcome to the Paranormal Portal news desk. Looks exactly like the other desk, doesn't it? That's just the power of production. It's got these neat borders on it, so it looks a little different, right? What was set up here above? I saw that and I read through it. Oh yeah, Artemis says, there's something to be said for residual hauntings when it comes to child spirits. Children have strong life energy, and when something horrible happens, it can leave that imprint. Yeah, it can, and it's certainly a case for some sightings of child spirits. I'm sure could be residual, and residual imprints are tough to understand. Yeah, we got magic here, Eric. But you're right. Residual energies can be imprinted. The stone tape theory, of course, talks about the ability of our atmosphere or objects to absorb some part of a person's experience or life force or whatever, and can replay things. And that's how you get haunted dolls and haunted objects in some cases. There's a lot of other ways to get haunted dolls and haunted objects, but that's certainly possibly one way. At any rate, evening, everyone. Sherry came in. Good to see you. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you. Sucks when you're empathic as well. I'm sure. Yeah. That's got to be tough. It's, living other people's, trauma is a tough thing, and, doing paranormal investigating and being empathic. It's good and bad, I guess, because you kind of suck everything in. But you got to do some good shielding then, right? So, all right. Welcome to the news. We're going to dive into some of these articles I pulled up. I've got 3 of them for you tonight. Remember, throughout the course of the show, we use many sites. And I just can implore you guys, please visit these sites. Please support what they're doing, because these guys are doing excellent work. And I'm talking about all the sites that we're going to be using throughout the course of the show. It's not a small venture to put out a website that gets traffic. It's very expensive, and so you can help these sites stay in business by giving them traffic. So as you hear me mention sites, please make a mental note to go check them out, because if you're here listening to the show, chances are you're into all this stuff anyway. And these sites all host amazing information and articles on all this stuff, much more than I could ever cover through a course of a million shows. Really, it's just, there's so much out there. So check them out and give them some of your traffic love, because that equates to revenue and helps to pay the bills. All right, so first up, we're going to visit an amazing site that we often use here on the shows, and one that I'm quite fond of, to be honest with you, as you well know if you've been around for any length of time, because it's one we always use. And I'm trying to pull up the chat so I can keep an eye on that in between articles. But this is unexplained-mysteries.com, and their first article is Prehistoric Predator Found in Namibia Had a Toilet Seat Shaped Head. What the hell is a toilet seat shaped head? Are they talking about the ring that you kind of sit on, the circle? What the hell's going on? I don't know. Let's see. This recently discovered salamander-like apex predator roamed Earth some 280 million years ago, measuring 2.5 meters in length and sporting both deadly interlocking fangs and a head that was shaped like a toilet seat. I keep envisioning those U-shaped things that you see in public toilets. I'm not sure the version they're talking about here, but anyway, and this remarkable new species named, Geisia genea, I don't know, I'm just throwing an idea at how to pronounce this, was unearthed by paleontologists recently in modern-day Namibia. Resembling a very large salamander, this enormous reptile likely roamed swamps and lakes where it sought out and devoured its prey using its powerful jaws. It's probably just a what do they call them? Scavenger. Probably a scavenger. It doesn't look like it's built for speed unless it ate a lot of fish. But anyway, it's not like it's got those cheetah legs or anything, These little T-Rex stubby forearms. I don't know what the back arms look like, or legs, but that's not definitely not sprinting ability there. But it says it lived 280 million years ago, which is long before the dinosaurs had arrived on the scene. And when we found this enormous specimen just lying in the outcrop as a giant concretion, it was really shocking, said Professor Claudia Marcicano of the University of Buenos Aires. I knew just from seeing it that it was something completely different. We were all very excited. In total, the team found 4 incomplete fossil skeletons, and it's got a big flat, there it is, toilet seat shaped head, which allows it to open its mouth and suck in prey. Okay, so it's a vacuum, said study co-author Jason Pardo of the Field Museum in Chicago. It has these huge fangs. The whole front of the mouth is just giant teeth. That sounds horrifying. I just can't imagine, what that would look like coming at you. But, you either run or you got to take a leak. I'm not sure. I don't know. It looks like a toilet. You came to the right place. Sorry, I'm an idiot. It's no doubt. Yeah, 280 million years ago, before the dinosaurs, Permian area, could be. That was a super fun time. So many great creatures. Probably. I don't pretend to know enough about it. I mean, my knowledge of dinosaurs is something about like Jurassic Park, which, you know, most of the dinosaurs in there weren't from the Jurassic period anyway, but it's a cool name. But I don't know much about, you know, the whole Permian and Jurassic, Cretaceous, and all the other names of periods of time, pre-dinosaur ancestors. Yeah, paradox fossils. I guess it sounds like that. It does sound like that. We have such potty mouths. This thing has a potty mouth, apparently, and a big hinged jaw to open wide. And I don't know. I'm just going to leave that alone because this could all go really south quick if I keep talking about it. But there you go. First article. Yeah, I don't know. Is it paranormal? No, but it's interesting. I mean, here's the thing about this that I find the most interesting, because it's utilized a lot in debunking things like Bigfoot and Dogman and all this stuff. And the big fallback is, well, we don't have that in the fossil record. Well, you didn't have these until about 5 minutes ago either, but they're there, you know? I mean, the use of the fossil record as an argument tool is absolutely ridiculous, because it's not a complete record. It's an ever-expanding, evolving record as things are discovered and dug up, which means we probably haven't even begun to scratch the surface on the fossil record. We have no idea what other things are lying in wait for us under the soil. So, you know, the whole fossil record argument is just ridiculous. It's just not it's not complete. It's nowhere near complete, and it's ever expanding. Now, you know, this is a great example of that. You know, these were pre-dinosaur era. And they didn't know about it until they knew about it. So there you go. I mean, that's my take. Is his tongue blue? No, I don't think so. There's no real tongue visible that I can see. But I think that's just some shading that's popping through there. Brent, if you ever dive into the Permian area, that's where we link a lot of our answers, reptile-like mammals. Well, I don't come from reptiles. I'm just kidding. I don't know where we come from. Could be if you believe in all the evolution stuff. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember ever knowing about that. You know, I mean, these ideas are ever evolving. But you're right. I mean, that's the prevailing ideas. Is that, you know, all of our ancestors kind of crawled out of the primordial slime as these fish with kind of feet and lungs or something, and then became what we understand as mammals. And there's probably merit to some of that. I don't know. I have no idea how this stuff all works, but, you know, I'm just being cheeky. I just don't know. Anyway, there you go. But there's Gaiazia Janae. Sounds like Forrest Gump calling his girlfriend Janae. Sorry, I can't resist. I don't know. Well, we came from another planet. Maybe. That's one of the theories out there, that maybe we aren't from here either, but you never know. All right, so let's dive into the next article, because I got two more for you. And I don't know if that was interesting to you or not, but I think I think the fossil record argument is very important to bring up. Yeah, we could just call it toilet head. You're right, Annie. What's up with all those really complex names? You just call it toilet head. Oh my God, what if you were a descendant of the lizard people and never knew because it was like 6 generations back, or 60 or 600 or who knows? I was just listening to Graham Hancock today in one of his appearances he made, and it was a discussion he was having with Joe Rogan. And I don't like have the opportunity to sit down and watch whole episodes of anything pretty much, just because, you know, I just am juggling a lot. But I will tell you that I catch a lot of clips. And what was interesting was we were talking about the records of kings in Egypt. And I guess they base a lot of the lineage of the Egyptian kings up to a certain point, and then apparently goes back like 3,000 generations or something like that. But they trace the lineage of kings back to a certain point, and then after that they say, oh, but that rest of it is all made up. It's like, well, how do you do that? How do you only acknowledge like this one section of it as probably some kind of scientific fact, but then everything before it is just fiction? Now, I'm a firm believer that the pyramids have been around a lot longer than than they're given credit for by a long shot. I think they've been around a lot longer, and so much so that I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty convinced, I should say. I can't say sure of anything, but I'm pretty convinced that what became the ancient Egyptians probably came upon these things already there. And I think that they're a relic from an ancient, more ancient time, even for them. So, I don't know. But anybody, I mean, I'm not incredibly informed, but, that's kind of my thoughts. Like how they say the Vikings lied about being the children of the gods. Well, I don't know. Is that a lie? Or are we all children of the gods? Or the God, or the divine, or whatever? I don't know. Maybe. Do you think aliens built them? I don't know. Could have been, here's the thing. What I would say about that sinfully is that I think that when you look into things like artifacts out of place or out of place artifacts, OOP-arts, there's things that have been discovered that are seemingly impossible to have arrived, where they are in, 20, 30, 100 million year old rock strata, that they're finding, like things like machined aluminum and artifacts. Now, some of the OOP-arts are hoaxes. You can't believe that all of them are legitimate, but are they all hoaxes? And if even only one of them is legitimate, then that raises a huge question of what has gone on this planet that we can't know about or haven't known about, or it's been possibly obscured because of the hubris of the prevailing archaeological theories or any number of things. I don't know, but there seems at least to be a possibility that there's been a lot of advanced civilizations that have existed here before us, and at least in our ability to look back into history. But there does seem to be periods of resets for some reason. Like there's, the mud floods, the great floods, all these ice ages and things like that, things that seem to happen that kind of reset everything. So I don't know. It seems to me that there's at least a possibility that there's been other incredibly advanced civilizations that predate all of our histories and awarenesses. And every once in a while, maybe some of their stuff turns up in the form of these OOP-arts, like machined aluminum found by mastodon skulls. As they're excavating mastodon skulls, they find what looks like an excavator tooth. And how did that get there? Well, I don't know. But you be the judge. I don't pretend to know which of those are absolutely rock solid factual or which ones are hoaxes, but I think if only one of them is real, then that still demonstrates something absolutely incredible, and it creates a lot of questions about what happened here before us. So just my take on it. But it's hard to know anything, obviously. And yeah, time slip portals it's a possibility. Maybe like the London hammer, maybe that's, is like a blacksmithing hammer or something from the 1800s that somehow slipped into some kind of a time slip back into the 600 million year old rock, which was forming, I don't know, or a miner's tool or whatever. Then it was just discovered in London, Texas, encased in like 300 to 600 million year old stone. So, I mean, I've not heard that it's been successfully debunked, but maybe it has. But that's a curiosity. I have partial heterochromia, which is linked to our age, but only just looked into it. I don't know what that means, but I don't know if that's good or bad, Maggie. It doesn't sound probably good. I don't know what heterochromia is. Some poor guy and his cat, and he's not Fred Flintstone. Hiya, Fred. So anyway, Fred Flintstone sometimes stops in the chat here, just so you guys know. So if you see Fred turn up, we can ask him. There's a guy that comes in with that chat name, Fred Flintstone. So that always cracks me up. All right, so let's get to the next article. God, I've only gone through one, haven't I? Well, here we go. We're going to ghost stuff now, which is good because it's the Paranormal Portal. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com. And here you go. Ghost sightings abound at Yosemite's haunted Ahwahnee Hotel. Wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. The Ahwahnee Hotel. Look at that. It looks like is that abandoned? Kind of looks abandoned. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's in. It looks like a cool building, though. The iconic hotel, situated within Yosemite National Park, California, is said to be the most haunted in the region. Yosemite itself needs no introduction, spanning more than 1,000 square miles of picturesque forests, mountains, lakes, streams, and glaciers. It remains a popular visitor attraction all year round. For those looking to get a good night's sleep, the Ahwahnee Hotel, which opened in 1927, provides weary travelers with somewhere to stay before continuing on to their adventures. But within its unassuming walls lie tales of paranormal activity, ghost sightings, and other strangeness that has earned the hotel something of a reputation for being the most haunted in the entire region. I guess it is an active hotel. Looked like it was missing windows and stuff here, but that must just be the lighting. Some of the alleged spooks spotted there over the years include those of the building's former owners, Mary Curry Tressiter, and her husband, Donald Tressiter. Many in particular who lived at the hotel until Mary, in particular, who lived at the hotel until her death in 1970, has been seen dancing in the common room, and her presence is often felt throughout the building. There are even claims that the ghost of President John F. Kennedy has been seen at the hotel. The story goes that due to a back problem, Kennedy had requested a rocking chair be brought to his room on the 3rd floor while he was staying there. Well, since his death, some guests claimed to have seen or heard a ghostly rocking chair in that location. The Ahwahnee Hotel is even thought to have served as a partial inspiration for some of the sets in Stanley Kubrick's iconic 1980 horror movie, The Shining. I thought that was based on the Stanley Hotel, but, well, I guess that's where Stephen King stayed and ended up writing the book. But, yeah, for sets, I don't know. Well, there you go. I guess if you're looking for a haunted hotel in California, maybe the Ahwahnee is the place to go. That sounds pretty cool. It looks like a beautiful area. I've never been to Yosemite. But there you have it, folks. Haunted hotel. But look at the grass. It looks like, I mean, I don't know. It's like a spring kind of shot, but it looks like the whole place is just abandoned. I don't know. I guess it must be still functional. Okay. I mean, it's a neat looking building, so more power to you. I'd go check it out for sure. But there's a second article from the news. Let's go to the last article tonight. Whoa. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is another. I guess we're going back into the paleontology. I don't know how long is this one. No, it's not too long. I guess this is apparently another discovery. Again, that darn fossil record. Let's check on this one from unexplained-mysteries.com. Gargantuan prehistoric marine reptile was largest ever to swim in the sea. Oh, looks like a gar. You guys ever see a gar? They're a freshwater fish, but they look like this. Except I don't know if they got this, but they got like a fish tail. But they are like this really rough fish with a jaw that looks just like this. I've caught them. They're just kind of scary to get the hooks out of because it's literally rows of teeth and a big like alligator snout. Paleontologists have identified a huge species of ichthyosaur from fossils found on a British beach. This remarkable discovery was made in 2016 by amateur fossil hunter who had been scouring the shoreline of Somerset, England, when he came across a fossilized jawbone. It turned out the jawbone belonged to an absolutely enormous species of ichthyosaur, a type of marine reptile that frequented the prehistoric seas around 200 million years ago. The fossil was particularly significant because this was not only the single largest ichthyosaur species ever found, but also the largest type of marine reptile of any kind. At the time of the discovery, it had been difficult to determine the exact size of the creature without more fossils, but then in 2020, a father and daughter who had been exploring the same stretch of coastline came across another jawbone belonging to the same species. I was massively impressed, really, really excited, said University of Bristol paleontologist Dr. Dean Lomax. I knew that right at that point, we had the second jawbone from one of these massive ichthyosaurs. Based on the size of the jawbones, one of them over a meter long and the other 2 meters long, we can work out that the entire animal would have been about 25 meters long, about as long as a blue whale. Oof, that's a big one. Well, there you go. I guess it's settled. Ichthyosaurs got pretty huge. I guess we can eliminate ants with salt and some green crap. There you go. Got that going for us. Well, there you go, folks. This has been the Paranormal Portal News. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it informative. And I guess we learned a lot more about dinosaurs tonight than I had intended. But there you have it. Let's get back to the rest of the show. Let's find out what's going on in the question of the week right now. Does sound like a rash, doesn't it, Artemis? Yeah, they are random. Ichthyosaurus. Well, there's that. That's one way to pronounce it, I guess. All right. How could she mistake that? And possibly antibiotics. Yeah, you never know, Elaine. Nothing wrong with a little dose of antibiotics every once in a while to clean out the pipes. That sounded all wrong. That just came out all wrong. Sometimes you say something and you're like, God, yeah. You wish it, yeah, I've said it before, but I wish there was like word bubbles. You could just grab them back. And, no, not that. That's not what I wanted to say. But you can't. You just got to deal with it. That's the beauty of live entertainment, folks. This is absolutely unrehearsed and unscripted and right from my noise hole. So, yeah, ants, that is a different era. That goes back further when insects ruled the world. Grandizer, you're like a font of information. All right. Oh, wow. That's awesome. So make it a none if your eyes are green. All right. And he says, I have ADHD. Well, that was a little random. I don't know if maybe it wasn't, but it looks random. Sorry, my eyes. It's getting hot here. It's getting like really hot in the studio. So my oily skin is getting much more oily. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and going to dive into more here on the Paranormal Portal. As we dive into the next segment, which is one that's I'm very, very fond of, and one that I hope you are as well. I know a lot of people participated in this week's question, which was nice. Last week was a little shy, a little sparse for responses, but I looked at this one. There you go. I got to quit reading chat when I'm trying to talk because I'm like, all right. We're going to get to the Discord question of the week, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you're ready because we're going to dive into that right now. Here we go. It's time. Wow. It's okay. I got better. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Discord question of the week segment of our show tonight. It's Saturday night, so we every Saturday we dive into this segment, and this is an opportunity for us, in this case, Chucky Danger, in every case, actually, he's been coming up with these questions and keeping this segment alive and afloat, which I'm eternally grateful for. Thank you, Chucky, for that. But this is the Discord question of the week where a question regarding the paranormal, cryptids, Fortean topics, strange and unusual phenomena is posted, and you guys just kind of weigh in with your ideas of what you think. And it's been a lot of fun because Brent's too sexy for a shirt. Yeah, you don't want to see me without this shirt, Grandizer. This would turn into a mess in a hurry, and not in a good way. But the more shirts I have on, the better. It's like science fiction under here. Are you kidding me? But we are going to get into the Discord question of the week and find out just what's going on with this question. And again, the Discord link is, I'll put it in the chats because I can type it faster than I can spell it. There we go. The Discord question of the week. Well, the Discord server link is in the YouTube and Twitch chats. I'm just putting it into the Rumble chat now. Whoops. Thank God I learned how to type. Almost, except I I got that right. Okay, I thought I misspelled it. Dropping some serious wisdom right here. Now, I don't know what kind of wisdom you're looking for there, Grandizer, but this is a pretty sketchy source. All right, so if you want to join the Discord server, you're all welcome to. Again, Discord is maybe a program that some of you aren't used to, but I'm here to tell you it's not hard to navigate once you kind of know what you're doing. It's just understanding what you're looking at, and what you're seeing on the screen here is our Discord server. And you can see up on the top, this is the Paranormal Portal. And below it on this panel right here are all the different threads you can talk about, and it's different phenomena. Over here on the very left are the different servers, the different Discord servers that are available. This is, well, I mean, there's so many out there. I mean, pretty much everybody has a Discord. So here's Hometown Ghost Stories. Great guys, wonderful, and their Discord is incredibly lively and eventful. There's Yowie Central. It's kind of inactive right now. Sarah's been stepped away from it for a bit, but I think she'll probably pick it up again. Here's the Portal. Here's, where's the ZX Arcade? There's Cade's Believe podcast Discord. And then there's the Kev Baker show, which ZX81V2 continues to keep up. So if you miss the Kev Baker community, a lot of them are still there. Still having conversations, folks. So, thank God he's keeping that up and running. It's amazing. Nod to an amazing man. So, but we're focused on the Discord for the Portal. And when you join, you'll be right here in the general. This will be the place where you enter today. Recently, who is it that joined? Oh, yeah, Eric the Wandering Purple Hobbit joined. When you join, you'll click in here and everybody will say hi, and people post in the general as well. But there's always these different threads that you can get involved in, episode discussions or, things that are brought up on the show. Somebody finds a link or supplemental information they'll post it in here. Bigfoot, Dogman, ghosts, UFOs, extraterrestrial encounters, cryptids, music. This is really cool because I love music, and I've learned about a lot of different music that people have posted in here. Strange phenomena like time slips, Mandela effect, etc. Paranormal Portal or Paranormal Library, rather, where people recommend books that they've read, paranormal movies that they watched, and art gallery, which is really cool. And they got some really incredibly creative people here doing some pretty cool stuff. So check it out. And then the humor. Everybody loves some humor. So just because you can connect to your your upstairs neighbor's Bluetooth soundbar and play ghost noises doesn't mean you should. That's diabolical. That's hilarious. That'd be hilarious to do. I was watching this video. It's like a TikTok or some short video, like a YouTube short. But God, it was hilarious. This dad, his little daughter, like a 12-year-old or something daughter, had a slumber party. And they were up in the room doing the Ouija board, and he's down at the power breaker. And you can hear the background, some girls in the distance giggling and laughing and talking and stuff. And then he flips the breaker back and forth and stuff, so the room lights are going on and off. And all of a sudden it's these shrill screams and the pounding of feet running. It's just wicked. That's so hilarious. And there's Bigfoot. Find out who's been searching for you. That'd be a pretty big search result. But anyway, we are talking about the question of the week tonight, folks. This is, again, thanks to Chuck E. Danger, who continues to be incredibly resourceful in coming up with these questions. So tonight's question of the week is, throughout the Midwest, there is a rare sighting of what have been known as the Thunderbird, Descriptions vary from a pterodactyl to a giant condor type of bird. And what do you think the thunderbird is? Does it belong to this time period, or is it a bleed through from the ancient past? Great question. Yeah, the thunderbird it's a big First Nations story. In many tribes, they have the stories of the thunderbirds and their presence and the omens and forebodings that implies. So, but it is a real phenomena that is still experienced even to this day, believe it or not. So, first up in the responses comes from Annie Manuel, and she says, what I was taught by my elder is that it is a powerful spirit creature and a sign from the Creator that there being no true difference from the spiritual and real, because that's a Western conceptualization. Personally, I like the idea of a pterodactyl. However, it would have to have a large food base in order for it to survive. What is interesting is how reptilian or bird-like creatures are associated with large storms. Those stories and beliefs have been traced to southern Africa when our species left the continent tens of thousands of years ago. So, is it real? Yes, but not necessarily in the way the question is framed. Fantastic. Yeah, I like that First Nations perspective on that for sure, because that's origin for a lot of our understanding of the Thunderbirds. And I think it would be incredibly remiss to not pay attention to those stories. Just like I think the First Nations experiences with things like skinwalkers and Bigfoot and other creatures should be listened to, because these are, these communities have had exposure to these things in a lot of cases for thousands, maybe tens of thousands of years, or thousands anyway. But, however long people have been here. But I think it's fascinating. All right, Eric, the Wandering Purple Hobbit, weighs in and says it's big, a very large bird, maybe the one from the Sesame Street, maybe the one from Pure Imagination. Laugh out loud. Who knows? A mix. Maybe it's a variant of species like the prehistoric fish near Madagascar. Maybe the world just isn't as old as we're all told it is, and scientists just don't know as much as they think they do. I think that's a fair assessment in a lot of cases, because there is an arrogance to science, at least in a lot of scientists, that there's a real hubris, and they tend to have a real narrow focus, considering they are supposed to be open to all eventualities, but that doesn't end up being their scientific model in a lot of cases. So great thoughts. Thank you, Eric. Cryptid Chaos comes in next and says, I don't think it's either. I think they come and go through portals. I believe they are just way too big to survive in this world. They could be hiding in the forest, but how would they be able to hunt and fit through all the trees? And if they rather hunt in water, where it's more open, then how many fish would they have to eat to survive? Earth just doesn't seem to be the place where they can survive or hide too well, unless there's outside sources feeding or hiding them. Well, the other part of that is that, there's lots of areas of Great Plains, and, even in densely forested areas, there's still plains and stuff. And there's things like ungulates, like deer and such, so they wouldn't have to survive on fish. Hell, eagles will drag goats off of mountains and then feast on what's left, and that doesn't seem likely given the size that they're almost the same size, but the eagle can just get it off balance and then it'll fall to its death. And then they'll just sit there and eat it for God knows how long a time it takes for an eagle to eat something like that, or eagles to eat it. But, nature is plenty resourceful in feeding itself. And, when you think of how big is a thunderbird? Well, I don't know personally. I've heard everything from, look like a horse with, horse-sized things with wings to a little bigger, bigger than any eagle, but not, incredibly giant. I've heard lots of variations. I've heard the pterodactyl things of, I don't know if they're all one and the same. I just don't know. And then there's the winged humanoids as well. So it's like, is that a thunderbird or a winged humanoid like a Mothman? Who knows? But it doesn't mean that they have to survive eating fish. There's lots of things that are available to eat. There's, medium-sized things as well, like, rabbits and fox and other, smaller things as well. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just saying I don't think, given that we don't know anything about them truly, it's hard to imagine what they subsist on, but it could be a variety of things. They obviously are going to be some sort of carnivores, but that could be everything from fish to mammals to reptilian things. It's anybody's guess. So, and one thing about the wilds is life is pretty plentiful. And if you're up above, you can just soar down and just grab one and go. I love Thunderbird art. I've got some of that. Very cool. All right, so next up comes John T., and I think they come from the cartoon Ice Age. In other words, I have no idea. Yeah, that's fair enough. I don't really either. Karen Alberting comes in next and says, okay, something my hubby has experience with. In the early to mid 80s, driving north on 93 towards Ely, Nevada, in the middle of the road, a very large black bird was sitting there. He said it was about 4.5 feet to 5 feet high. Wow. And somewhere about a half as wide as it was tall. And this is about 1 to 2 in the afternoon. And he said he almost hit it, and it just stood there and looked at him. He said it is burned into his brain and he will never forget it. Personally, I think he saw a Thunderbird and they exist. Just my opinion. And he doesn't know just that it was huge, and birds aren't that huge. And he's seen condors. Well, that's our 2 cents worth for what it's worth. Well, that's a great story. I mean, that's a great thing to share. Thank you so much for putting that on there. That is fascinating. I've interviewed people that have seen owls the size of people, everywhere from like 3 to 4 feet to like 6 feet, with huge wingspans. I've talked to both types. Both interviews were on the podcast. So if you want to look through those, you can find it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, are they from here though? Or are they just kind of, are they potentially something that exists just out of phase with us, but maybe there was a perceptual entanglement there where you're able to observe it? I don't know. That's the big questions, I guess, for all of this. All right, coming up next is Maggie M10. Near Alice Springs here in Australia, there was a discovery of a fossilized giant flightless bird known as the Thunderbird, and believed to have gone extinct 50,000 years ago. One Aboriginal name for the now extinct group of birds is Murrung. The largest of the Murrung, whoa, Maggie, these are big words. Dromornis steartoni is said to have been 3 meters tall and 600 kilograms in weight and plodded along like an emu. I know loosely some of the beliefs and folklore surrounding the cryptids of North America, but I don't know what people are seeing when they mention Thunderbirds. There do seem to be a few photographs here and there, but whether those are real or not, who knows? It seems there were many sightings of strange creatures around the 1800s, particularly, and encounters have been documented in newspapers. Knowing the fossil record clearly shows that there were megafauna walking the earth in the past, I couldn't say one way or the other whether these were living, breathing beings that happen to come from somewhere or remain hidden, or whether people are tapping into something spiritually and seeing things that once played out in these locations. Good point. These theories and beliefs, some theories and beliefs out there, if I understood correctly, seem to say it is possible the past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. Yeah, that's non-Euclidean space-time, yep. If that is the case, and time being linear, as some of us perceive it to be, is not true, then perhaps we can witness these things from the past. I really couldn't say for sure, but it's fun to think about. Great question. And great points, Maggie. Thank you. There's the depictions of what this thing would look like. I guess that's an ostrich, and that's how big this thing was. God, it was nearly 12 feet tall. That's a monster. That'd peck the hell out of you. Can you imagine the drumsticks on those pigs, though? Oh, my God. I know Don, if he's watching, he's thinking, I wonder if that fit on my grill. Just saying. And there's a link, New Zealand's extinct giant moa. is there. Thank you, ZX. Neil S. comes in and says, I think it could be a relic species, and that would be really cool, but why couldn't it be a spirit of a prehistoric bird? I'm sure we're all heard stories of ghost animals, like the ghost of the ape at Carew Castle in Wales, or the animal ghost at the Tower of London. But it could be a prehistoric ghost bird. Just a thought. Yeah, I mean, certainly it could be an apparition or a time slip of some point. Then ZX says he's still waiting to see a ghost T-Rex. I don't want to see that ghost ever. Rachel comes in to close it up and says, I think it's something spiritual, a manifestation of protection for people who have certain beliefs. There are some unknowns in this world, and I think for modern society, this is one of them. Yeah, I would agree. It's great points, everybody. Thank you so much. I think that's fantastic. And, great thoughts. And I don't know. I think here's the thing. I know there are sightings of pterodactyls that still come up. People see them, report seeing them. I've seen some images allegedly of what they've seen. Now, I will say that if you ever look at a heron flying, sometimes they can look exactly like a pterodactyl. So I had somebody send me a picture a while back, and no offense to them. I mean, they were just like, what is this? Does this look like a pterodactyl to you? And it did. But then I sent them pictures of blue herons flying and stuff, and they're like, oh, well, that's probably what this is then. But it really is hard to differentiate just when you have a dark sky or a light sky with a dark silhouette in it. It looked like it could have been a pterodactyl, but I think it was most likely a heron. But if there were, here's my rub with this, if there really were things like pterodactyls around, when you have Bigfoot and Dogman, these are creatures that we presume are working with some kind of, at least a pretty complex intelligence. It seems pretty likely that they're more sophisticated than your average bear. They are problem solving. They are thinking. They have strategy. They have what appears to be some higher cognitive functioning, maybe even much more than we can possibly assume. But I'm just speaking in generalities here. But they do seem to actively avoid people. So that is one thing. But now, if you did have something like a pterodactyl around, this is something that probably has the brain about the size of a double A battery, if that. Even if that, they're just small brains, and they're probably just going to be geared on, hey, I need to eat. Hey, I got to figure out a place to sleep. And they're probably not going to give much consideration to these little specks wandering around on the ground. That would be us. They're not going to be like, oh, stay away from those guys. They're no good. I just don't think that they would have that same hesitancy. And then you come to the point that, well, if they are here, and if they did learn to fear people, then why is nobody finding any carcasses around? Even if they're exceptionally rare, wouldn't they turn up once in a great while? Because there are people in the woods. There are people wandering through, and we can't say, well, maybe they bury their dead, because these are birds. They're just going to die and fall. They're not going to plot out where they're dying, probably. Again, because they're working with like a wall, less than a walnut for gray matter here. So I don't know. Hey, Roman Daniels, good to see you, brother. So I don't attribute the same possibilities, as I attribute like a Bigfoot and a Dogman, because they can calculate, they can plan, and there's plenty of examples in higher mammals of them going odd places to die, like elephants, for instance. Those are enormous. But the graveyards are largely a mystery. Where do they go when they die? Mountain lions are known to go way off into into impossible places to die, like they can feel the end coming. And I'm assuming that things like Bigfoot and potentially Dogmen bury their dead. Maybe they have ritual. Maybe they have a spirituality to it. So, but not pterodactyls. Now the other part of it is that when pterodactyls were alive and existing in the wilds, there was a whole different atmosphere with a lot more oxygen. And I'm sure that even if it was like a portal where they came out of time into our atmosphere, wouldn't they almost instantly just fall to the ground because they would just be in oxygen deprivation? So I do think that there's things like time slips where we see them and perhaps they even see us, but it's not like we're both in each other's company, but there's an awareness that's possible through whatever reasons. And then they just disappear. And maybe that iris between times closed, and then it's no longer possible to see them. But anyway, I don't know. I'm just kind of on a soapbox here, but I just wanted to share that because I've shared it through the years here and there. And I mean, those are my pet theories about it. Could there be thunderbirds? Sure. Could there be giant birds? Sure. I do kind of lean towards the more spiritual aspect of it personally. I think that it doesn't mean that it's not real. I think ghosts are very real, and they're totally in a spiritual aspect. So these things could be too. There's been manifestations people have seen of ghosts that are as real as you and me. There's plenty of encounters people have had of talking with apparitions that nobody else could see, having full, robust conversations. A lot of security guard footage has come up of people talking to somebody they could see and experience perfectly. Had no idea it wasn't a real thing, but on the CCTV, it's like the person standing there gesturing to empty air, and when it's brought to their attention, they're like, so it's a real thing. That was one of the questions I asked the child spirit today. Could she see us, and if so, what do we look like to her? Do we look like shadows or a speck of energy? Did you get an answer? I'd love to hear that. Interesting. But anyway, this has been the Discord question of the week. Thank you, everybody, for weighing in on this. I appreciate responses. Thank you, Chucky, for continuing to come up with these amazing questions. Brent, when you fly with crows, you get shot at. Maybe. I don't know. I don't shoot at crows personally. I like crows. In fact, on my microphone stand, I'll show you when I go to the big screen here. On my microphone stand, that's a crow feather. Right there. Big one. There's another one right next to it, but you can't really see it. But yeah, I've got a ton of feathers here. I got a whole big jar full of feathers that I picked up through the years. I don't shoot at stuff. But anyway, crows are awesome. They are. They're incredibly brilliant. They are incredibly brilliant birds. All right, so that was the Discord question of the week. And again, thank you, everybody, for weighing in on that. I appreciate it. And I guess I should do this to close it out. All right, folks, that was the question of the week. And we got a lot more to get to. Because, there's got a lot more show. What was that? Nope. And hope to someday. Oh, so you didn't get an answer. Okay. Gotcha. Roman Daniels, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in. Roman, you probably will know if you've been around for a while. He and his brother Jaron have a podcast of their own called Supernatural Station. Wonderful guys. They've been dear friends for a long time. I'm going to see him in Vernal, Utah this year, September. So, again, if you guys are going to be in September, that's kind of cool. So I also, excited about that. And I'm going to be in Pocatello, Idaho on the 26th and 27th of this month down at the Bigfoot Rendezvous down there. Look at last night's episodes. I don't have that link open anymore, I don't think. Do I? Oh, I do. Let me just show this quick as soon as it loads. There we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. July 26th and 27th, I'm going to be down here at the Pocatello, Idaho. July 26th and 27th at the Bigfoot Rendezvous. Michael Freeman's going to be there talking. Dr. Jeff Meldrum will be there. Nico Spatafora. Mark Mercell, David Ellis, and Squatch America is going to be there. And I'm going to be there at a table introducing everybody to the portal. So hope you'll be there too. If you can be, that'd be wonderful to see you guys. Head on down there, and then September 4th through the 7th in Vernal, Utah for Phenomicon. Go to phenomicon.net for more information. That's going to be an epic show. I have a good time at Phenomicon. It's really a long haul at 4 days of shows, but it's just really neat. It's just a neat place, and lots of wonderful people come in. So check that out if you get the chance. I might be going to another conference even later this year, but I haven't solidified everything. I'll let you guys know more about that when I know more. But That one should be pretty cool. I'll fill you in as soon as I have more information. Actually, just entered discussions today, so we'll talk. When I know more to tell you, I will let you know. Okay, I love Phenomicon. Yeah, me too, Karen. It's a wonderful show. They do just a hell of a job. I mean, Phenomicon is wonderful because if you like The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, if you like Expedition Bigfoot, if you like Ancient Aliens, if you like the paranormal, there's going to be so much going on. There's so many. All the cast of Secret of Skinwalker Ranch will be there, and throughout those days, wonderful people. The ones that I've met have been just fantastic. I will tell you that they're like rock stars there, though. It's like they kind of come in and then go and then come in and go. But I will tell you also that last year they were still filming during that period. So they had to get back to the ranch for things that they were doing, but they did make appearances, which was really cool. I'm sure it's an incredibly busy time for them wrapping up their filming for the year, but they are wonderful guys. But yeah, and the Expedition Bigfoot people are wonderful as well. Dave Schrader is going to be there too, as will a couple cast members. Nick Pope is going to be there. Of course, he's the former Ministry of Defense guy that appears on all the UFO shows. And I think David Childress is going to be there from Ancient Aliens, but I don't remember for sure. Anyway, we'll talk more about that after this Pocatello one. I'll start showing you the promotions for Phenomicon. Brent, do they measure everyone's foot to see who had the biggest foot at the Bigfoot Rendezvous? I don't know, Grandizer. I've never been there before, but it wouldn't be me. I think my foot is basically a 10.5 or 10.5 wide or 11 regular is my foot, which is not enormous. It's bigger than it used to be, but still not huge. All right, so oh yeah, the articles. I was like, what am I doing now? Ghost Radar's been absolutely silent tonight. So that's down here on the bottom of your screen. I'm moving my mouse over it now. This is the Ghost Radar. If you're new to the show, this is going on, and it definitely can detect EM anomalies. It doesn't mean they're paranormal, but it's kind of interesting. And sometimes some pretty cool stuff pops up. But some shows, this thing is just really going off, and other shows, it's like tonight, it's been an absolute cricket fest, which is good. Because if it was always busy, it'd be like, really, every time? But I like the fact that it's, sometimes nothing's happening on it. Tends to make me believe. Who took all the ghosts? I don't know. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're busy. Or maybe someone else has got a show going on that they're visiting. Go bother Spaced Out Radio for a night, will you? Go see Dave Scott for a while. No, Dave's a good guy. I don't know him real well, but he does a good show. Spaced Out Radio is a pretty great production. I gotta hand it to him. He's doing a good job. So I blame Bill Murray. Yeah, it might be him. Might be the Ghostbusters. But anyway, let's get on with the articles that I promised you that I pulled up tonight. I think these are kind of interesting. Just some different stuff to cover. Couple of them. I think we're going to start with this one. Because through the course of the shows, I've sometimes postulated to you guys that I think that in some hauntings, maybe the phenomena is generated by the people themselves. I'm not saying all. I think there's plenty of organic hauntings and truly unique entities that can haunt a place and can create pretty amazing phenomena. But I do also think that sometimes the people that are at these locations, probably subconsciously, I don't think they know they're doing it, but they may be generating the activity themselves in maybe in a form of tulpa generation or thought form, or it's kind of akin to the poltergeist phenomena that is generally attributed to pubescent or prepubescent girls that, they may be generating the phenomena themselves and not knowing it. But I don't think that that's exclusively the realm of the poltergeist phenomena. I think that sometimes people can generate their own phenomena and not realize it. I think we are incredibly powerful manifestors of our lives. And if there's enough energy towards something, something can actually occur. So this is an article I found, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. It's not long. It's pretty short, actually. But hopefully you find this interesting as well. I didn't pre-read it, but I thought, well, this will be good. So it's from a site called liveabout.com. And this is a neat site. I've kind of been leaning on this site here and there through the years because I think they got a whole plethora of amazing articles on the paranormal, which is obviously why I'm here and why I find this site interesting. But they have a whole lot more on this site. So check out liveabout.com. And this article is from May 14th, 2018. And it's by a gentleman by the name of Stephen Wagner. Now, full disclosure, I've tried to reach out to Stephen Wagner because he's got a whole host of articles on here that are just fascinating. So I'd love to have the chance to talk to him and have him as a guest on the podcast, but I didn't get any reply, unfortunately. But I'll, continue to send out feelers to see if I can get a hold of the guy. But he sounds absolutely fascinating. So we're going to talk about one of his articles tonight. And this is how a psychical research group brought Philip the Ghost to life. And I thought this was really cool because it does seem to echo what I was talking about. All right, so here we go. Consider these experiences. A group of teenagers gathered around a Ouija board receives a mysterious messages from a person's spirit who claims to have died 40 years ago. A paranormal society conducts a seance and they contact a ghost that communicates by rapping on a table. And the last one, the residents of a century-old home see the spirit of a young child playing in the hallway. Now, what are these manifestations? Are they truly the ghosts of departed people, or are they creations of the minds of the people who see them? Many researchers of the paranormal suspect that some ghostly manifestations and poltergeist phenomena, objects flying through the air, unexplained footsteps and door slammings, are products of the human mind. To test that idea, a fascinating experiment was conducted in the early 70s by the Toronto Society for Psychical Research, or TSPR, to see if they could create a ghost. The idea was to assemble a group of people who would make up a completely fictional character, and then, through seances, see if they could contact him and receive messages and other physical phenomena, perhaps even an apparition. And here we go, the birth of Philip. The TSPR, under the guidance of Dr. A.R.G. Owen, assembled a group of 8 people culled from its members, none of whom claimed to have any psychic gifts. The group, which became known as the Owen Group, consisted of Dr. Owen's wife, a woman who was a former chairperson of Mensa, obviously very intelligent, and an industrial designer, an accountant, a housewife, a bookkeeper, and a sociology student. A psychologist named Dr. Joel Witten also attended many of the group's sessions as an observer. The group's first task was to create their fictional historical character. Together they wrote a short biography of the person they named Philip L. Aylesford. Here, in part, is that biography. Philip was an aristocratic Englishman living in the middle of the 1600s at the time of Oliver Cromwell. He had been a supporter of the king and was a Catholic. He was married to a beautiful but cold and frigid wife, Dorothea, the daughter of a neighboring nobleman. One day, when out riding in the boundaries of his estates, Philip came across a gypsy encampment and saw there a beautiful dark-eyed girl, raven-haired gypsy girl, Margot, and fell instantly in love with her. He brought her back secretly to live in the gatehouse, near the stables of Diddington Manor, his family home. For some time he kept his love nest secret, but eventually Dorothea, realizing he was keeping someone else there, found Margot and accused her of witchcraft and stealing her husband. Philip was too scared of losing his reputation and his possessions to protest at the trial of Margot, and she was convicted of witchcraft and burned at the stake. God, this is a pretty horrible narrative. Philip was subsequently stricken with remorse that he had tried to defend Margot and used to pace the battlements of Diddington in despair. Finally, one morning, his body was found at the bottom of the battlements, whence he had cast himself in a fit of agony and remorse. The Owen Group even enlisted artistic talents of one of its members to sketch a portrait of Philip. With their creation's life and appearance now firmly established in their minds, the group began the second phase of the experiment: contact. In September of 1972, the group began their sittings, informal gatherings in which they would discuss Philip and his life, meditate on him, and try to visualize their collective hallucination in more detail. These settings, conducted in a fully lit room, went on for about a year with no results. Some members of the group occasionally claimed they felt a presence in the room, but there was no result they could consider any kind of communication from Philip. So they changed their tactics. The group decided they might have better luck if they attempted to duplicate the atmosphere of a classic spiritualist seance. They dimmed the room's lights, sat around a table, sang songs, and surrounded themselves with pictures of the type of castle that they imagined Philip would have lived in, as well as objects from that time period. It worked. During one evening's seance, the group received its first communication from Philip in the form of a distinct rap on the table. Soon, Philip was answering questions asked by the group, one rap for yes, two for no. They knew it was Philip because, well, they asked him. The sessions took off from there, producing a range of phenomena that could not be explained scientifically. So, through the table rapping communication, the group was able to learn finer details about Philip's life. He even seemed to exhibit a personality, conveying his likes and dislikes and his strong views on various subjects made plain by the enthusiasm or hesitancy of his knockings. His spirit was also able to move the table, sliding it from side to side despite the fact that the floor was covered in thick carpeting. At times it would even dance on one leg. Philip's limitations and his power. That Philip was a creation of the group's collective imagination was evident in his limitations. Although he could accurately answer questions about events and people of his time period, it did not appear to be information that the group was unaware of. In other words, Philip's responses were coming from their subconscious, their own minds. Some members thought they heard whispers in response to questions, but no voice was ever captured on tape. Philip's psychokinetic powers, however, were amazing and completely unexplained. If the group asked Philip to dim the lights, they would dim instantly. When asked to restore the lights, he would oblige. The table around which the group sat was almost always the focal point of particular phenomena. After feeling a cool breeze blow across the table, they asked Philip if he could cause it to start and stop at will. He could and did. The group noticed the table itself felt different to the touch whenever Philip was present, having a subtle electric or alive quality. On a few occasions, a fine mist formed over the center of the table. Most astonishingly, the group reported that the table would sometimes be so animated that it would rush over to meet the latecomers to the session, or even trap members in the corner of the room. The climax of the experience was a seance conducted before a live audience of 50 people. The session was also filmed as part of a television documentary. Fortunately, Philip was not stage shy and performed above expectations. Besides table rappings and other noises around the room and making lights blink off and on, the group actually attained a full levitation of the table. It rose only a half-inch above the floor, but this incredible feat was witnessed by the group and the film crew. Unfortunately, the dim lighting prevented the levitation from being captured on the film. You can see the footage of the experiment here. Oh, cool. I'll make sure to grab that link and put it in the chats after. Although the Philip experiment gave the Owen group far more than they ever imagined possible, it was never able to attain one of the original goals, to have the spirit of Philip actually materialize. The Philip experiment was so successful that the Toronto organization decided to try it again with a completely different group of people and a new fictional character. After just 5 weeks, the new group established contact with their new ghost, Lilith, a French-Canadian spy. Other similar experiments conjured up such entities as Sebastian, a medieval alchemist, and even Axel, a man from the future. All of them were completely fictional, yet all produced unexplained communication through their unique raps. A Sydney, Australia group attempted a similar test with the Skippy experiment. The 6 participants created a story of Skippy Cartman, thinking of South Park, a 14-year-old Australian girl. The group reports that Skippy communicated with them through raps and scratching sounds. Conclusions. What are we to make of these incredible experiments? Sorry. While some would conclude that they prove that ghosts don't exist, that such things are in the minds only, others say that our unconscious could be responsible for this kind of phenomena some of the time. They do not, in fact, cannot prove that there are no ghosts. Another point of view is that even though Philip was completely fictional, the Owen group really did contact the spirit world. A playful or perhaps demonic sort would argue. Spirits took the opportunity of these seances to act as Philip and produce extraordinary psychokinetic phenomena recorded. In any case, the experiments proved that paranormal phenomena are quite real, and like most such investigations, they leave us with more questions than answers about the world in which we live. The only certain conclusion is that there is much to our existence that is still unexplained. That's incredible. Yeah, I think that's fascinating as hell. Let's see. Where was it? Oh, here's the footage of the actual experiments. Let me copy. Wait, let me do this. I guess I'll just open it. Just see what it's going to show us here. It's YouTube. Okay, who's dismissed? I want to see the Philip experiment. What channel is this? I guess it's 13 years ago. Okay, that's loud. There's the. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chats if you guys want to check out this for yourself. Please feel free. After the show, of course. Don't do it before. But it's there if you want to check it out. But I just wanted to see. This is 11 minutes, so it's a lot to go on. And there's interviews and such interspersed in this, obviously. So I'm sure there's some pretty good captures here throughout the course of it. Now, I think it's fascinating. I think it's absolutely fascinating that this was something that was generated by their desire to generate it. So the other part, I guess I was considering that same fact, that what if it's something, what if a lot of times, like through the Ouija board sessions and things like that it's some presence there, some intelligence that goes, I can be Philip, what the hell? And so it portrays itself as that. And could that also be the case in some hauntings where it's things that were never human really, but they perhaps grab familiar things from our consciousness or our minds to put us more at ease. It's like, well, you don't have to be afraid of me. I'm Philip. and it never really was. Yeah. I have a Pazuzu necklace? Really? Do you really? Pazuzu. That's apparently the demonic symbol was used in The Exorcist, I think. Yeah. No, it's black. Jeez, Maggie. Oh, Maggie. She's buried in the dirt. I'm just kidding. Pazuzu was a protector of newborn babies from Lamashtu. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. You have to step into their shoes to think about how they were treated in the stories. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Chucky, but that's what I get for trying to jump into the chat. Anyway, that was a good story. I hope you guys liked it. It's interesting. And again, I really think there's something very profound about this. Now, I don't mean to imply that this is the case in all hauntings, but I think it's definitely the case in some of them. And if you believe in anything, I think it on some level becomes real. Like if you are absolutely convinced there's something there, there is something there. And it might be a projection. It might be something you've inadvertently drawn in through your expectation of something being there. I don't know how that works for sure, but I think those are all interesting questions. Now I want to go to this article because I thought, oh, that's kind of neat. I don't know what time it is, but 8:40. We might not have time for cryptids tonight. Let's go to this one because it's interesting, and this is also written by the same gentleman, Stephen Wagner, from February 23rd, 2019 on liveabout.com. We oftentimes talk about pets and them being much more sensitive to the subtle energies around us. Certainly, dogs and cats seem to pick up on things like cryptids, like right now. That might be because they hear them, smell them, or their senses are more attuned to those kind of things than ours ever could be. But it might be something energetic as well. They're more sensitive to subtle energies. So I wanted to read this story tonight. Okay, so here we go. Can dogs see spirits? How animals perceive the paranormal. All right, can dogs see ghosts? It's a common question and something even movies explore. And it may be that animals have unique connections to the paranormal, but even people who believe in an afterlife and the possibility of ghosts are often skeptical when it comes to the idea of spirit animals. They don't have souls or spirits, goes the argument, and therefore cannot have a life in the next world, which is absolute crap. Absolutely. I've had pets that had more soul than most people I know. Anyway, let's see. But cats, dogs, birds, and other animals are made up of the same energy that humans are, and it might be as possible that this energy can survive death just as it can for people. Absolutely. If anything is conscious, it has some form of soul. I mean, that's just consciousness and soul, I think, are interchangeable. Animals and psychic connections. Anyone who is close to their pets will testify to the psychic connection they share. Psychic energy and spiritual energy may all be a part of the same phenomena. And so animals might have as much of a connection to the unseen world as we do, probably more, because they're not inundated with our overstimulated minds and lifestyles. Maybe more. Animals not only appear as ghostly forms, but they may also be more sensitive to the proximity of spirits, alerting us to what we can't see for ourselves. Can dogs see ghosts? Dogs can be just as sensitive as cats when it comes to sensing the unseen. People have reported their dogs growling at unseen beings, acting protectively towards their owners, or cowering from spirits. Animals with their intense hearing and sense of smell may indeed be able to sense other beings that humans cannot. The ghosts of animals may be as common as the ghosts of humans, and there are many reports from people who have sensed, felt, smelled, heard, or even seen the spirits of recently departed pets. I agree. Deceased pets. Besides animals sensing ghosts, it's possible to come in contact with the ghost of a dearly loved pet. Many owners have reported feelings of their deceased pet's presence in their homes. For example, in times of crisis, individuals have said that they felt a comforting warmth similar to the feeling of the pet curling up on your lap. Others have reported hearing the jingle of their pet's collars long after the dog or cat had passed away. In fact, there have been incidents of deceased pets making their presence known even to strangers. Guests at hotels with a reputation for hauntings have experienced phantom barks, meowing noises, and even feelings as if an animal brushed by them. While animals are sadly cursed with shorter lifespans than humans, they may have other senses that help compensate them. With their exceptional sight and hearing, they may be able to sense spirits that humans cannot see, even after death. Our beloved pets may still linger, giving comfort and protection long after they die. So the next time your pet acts strangely, staring at an unseen object in a corner or growling at nothing, consider that he may be able to see something you can't. And that's the whole article. It wasn't really an in-depth expose, but I think there's no question. I was also thinking of the possibility that, we may perceive a lot of things as spiritual, but they may not actually be spiritual. They might just be possibly out of phase with us, in terms of frequency, in terms of vibration. They may exist in the same spaces as us, but we may not be able to perceive them, whether it's out of our light spectrum to see, if it's out of our senses to experience. But with the hyper-attuned senses of animals, maybe they can. And maybe some of that is that it's not necessarily a spirit or a ghost or something supernatural in that respect, but it might just be some other layer of our reality that we're just not very able to experience. So I don't know. I think it's fascinating, and I think there's really something to it. So, but again, this show's never about making you believe anything or not. Just, consider it. I'm going to do this as well. Oh, I did put the link in there for that experiment, so you can see it. But anyway, we've covered those two stories. I think they were wing dingers. I think they were lovely, but we are getting down to the wire here, so I guess, God, there isn't much time to do anything. What do I have for a short story here? Let me see. So we can do something with the cryptids before we're all done. Let's see. That's more spiritual. That's 2 weeks. That one's a big one, I know. Oh, this one was kind of interesting. It's a long one, though. It's too long. Can't read that one. This one's too long. Can't read that one. How's this one? Not too bad. I think I can read this one, because it is cryptid, and by God, we got to visit the cryptid corner before we're done, right? So here we go, folks. We're going to visit the cryptid corner. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cryptid Corner. Thank you, Sinfully. I appreciate that. I don't know if you're leaving or not, but if you are, thanks for coming in. We're going to go to the Phantoms and Monsters, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lon Strickler's site. Amazing site. Again, please visit it. Check it out. Lon's published works are all listed over there. You can find information about his Phantoms and Monsters radio podcast. It's also a channel on YouTube. And certainly check out the site, because there's so many encounter stories here. It's crazy. And Lon's always publishing several every day. The guy's just a machine. So check it out. But we're going to go to hiker stalked and harassed by Sasquatch for 2 weeks in Oregon's Cascades. I said Oregon. Oregon's Cascades. Sorry. Don would be throwing something at me if he heard me say that. An experienced hiker of Oregon's Cascades is stalked by a Sasquatch for almost 2 weeks until he decides to stand up to it. A very interesting account that I featured previously. Oh, maybe we read it previously. About 7 years ago, I was hiking up in the Cascades in Oregon, and I was in a more remote area of the range, and on the 6th day of the trail, the hair on the back of my neck started standing up. I chalked it up being a mountain lion in the area, and but the weird thing was, the uneasy feeling never left. That night is when I heard the howling. It wasn't wolves or bears or any other animal that I'd ever heard. The closest thing I could relate it to is the noises apes and monkeys make. And this persisted for the next few nights. And eventually, something started rummaging through my campsite. Naturally, I assumed it was a bear or a raccoon. But then, on the 11th day, I woke up and my food bag was removed from the tree. Something had cut the line through. All my food was gone. Well, I decided to keep pushing. I had 4 days left until the trail's end. I'm familiar with what I can and can't eat in the area and could always fish for food. I'm pretty sure we read this one before, but we're reading it again. The nightly activities occurred, and on the 13th night, something started throwing rocks at my tent. It's probably pissed he didn't have more food. It's like, when are you going to put out a new food bag? For some reason, I lost it. I screamed into the darkness for whatever it was to leave me alone, hoping it was just some person screwing with me, and instead, it grew quiet for the first time in nights. Nothing could be heard. And then a scream, louder and more vicious than any other night, cut through the night. Then nothing. Complete and utter silence again. Despite it being quiet, I wasn't able to sleep that night. I just waited. The next day I continued my hike, dead tired, just waiting to get out, just wanting to get out. The hair on the back of my neck still standing, and the forest was still quiet. I felt like I was being hunted. Towards the end of the day, I sat down to rest before pushing a few more miles when I saw it. Something tall and large, bigger than any man or animal I had ever seen, sliding through the forest, not making a noise. I yelled at it, and it turned to look at me. And I never got a good look at it through the trees and the brush, and it was dark, but I knew that whatever it was causing this. I threw a rock at it and then pulled my knife, and this thing just kept staring at me. I don't know what kicked in, but I no longer felt scared. I felt angry, and I ran at the thing. It ran from me, and I chased it into the woods. It had long strides and easily outpaced me, but I continued the chase. After several minutes, I gave up and collapsed in exhaustion. I rested for a bit before backtracking my way to the backpack and resting area. I was tired and just made camp there. Another night of silence. When I woke up the next day and had about 10 miles till I was out, exhausted and hungry and mentally drained, I made my way out. And as I got closer and closer to the end of the trail, the typical forest noises returned. Birds, bugs, and mice running through the undergrowth. All these noises slowly returned. I no longer had this feeling of unease. I got to the trail end, sat in my car, and broke down. And to this day, I still pass it off as someone just screwing with me, but the way that thing moved in the forest, I just don't know. I told a park ranger about it, and he jokingly said they have a bunch of Bigfoot sightings in the area, but most likely it was just a local messing with me or my own imagination. I do a lot of long hikes, but that 15 days was by far the worst. Yeah, that'd be horrible. Why did it just sit there? Why did it just do that? You know, why was it just harassing him? And maybe it was. Maybe it was just waiting for him to hang up another bag of food. Maybe it figured he had more or something. It's like, all right, that one's gone. Let's go. I'm hungry. Yeah, maybe it was just sticking around like, yeah, maybe he's going to hang out more food for me. You never know. That's pretty creepy, though. But there you have it, folks. Again, I know we've covered that one before, and I'm sorry for that. I didn't know it was a repeat story, but it's still a great story. I prefer the story where the guy tried to act tough and does it to the Goog way, and he learns you don't get tough with nature. Yeah, maybe. I don't know that story, though, Grandizer. But anyway, I will tell you this. It's just another journey. Do you think it's possible that somehow we are getting sucked into a portal or realm with the sound of all bugs and animal life going away every time we have encounters with these things? I don't know. I don't think it's us going anywhere. I think it's just some kind of energetic experience. I don't know if it's infrasound. A lot of people say infrasound is what makes that happen. And I don't know, because a lot of animals use infrasound. I don't think, whenever a big predator is around, though, the forest can go just dead silent. And I think it's just a natural reaction to this apex predator being there, that nature just knows to just shut up because, it's on the prowl. And that can be tigers. People talk about, when a tiger is near the forest goes quiet, or bears, big bears, things like that. Mountain lions, people have talked about the forest going quiet. So it's not exclusive to these experiences, in that the silence, I don't think, is necessarily paranormal, but it does seem to be a natural reaction to some sort of apex predator on a mission. Like there's just an energy to it, maybe. I don't know. And maybe all of the nature around there, yeah, like an energetic wavelength, yeah. Tigers do, elephants do. There's lots of animals that use infrasound. Even environmental things can create infrasound as well. So seismic events, of course, create an infrasound, and weather events can create infrasound as well. So, I mean, there's animals that use it. There's natural events of it, but I don't know if the silence is esoteric though. I think it's just some universal understanding, like like everything just goes maybe if we kind of back up and you look at Bigfoot encounters and dogman encounters and things like that, one of the first things people experience is that sudden feeling of dread. Like, that's so common in so many reports. And maybe that's the energetic shift right there. That's when the energy changes, and that's when everything in the area feels it. Like maybe the insects, the frogs, the squirrels, everything just goes, and that's just an atmospheric thing that shifted. And I don't know. I just think it's something like that. But just some thoughts. But that's the journey tonight. I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. I see over in Rumble, Justin Gooder's over there. Barbara Mora's there. And Maggie was in both places. Maggie, you're universally present, as is Barbara. She's usually back and forth, too. I haven't seen Taipan lately. And HB Girl to you is over there. Gypsy, good to see you. Thank you so much. And Dog Digger's over in Rumble. And, of course, all you guys here on the YouTubes. And hello to all you over in Twitch. If you're watching, thank you so much. Appreciate it. This is going to wrap it up for this week's shows. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting and entertaining. And again, I guess I'll see you on Wednesday. Hope you guys are here, and we'll get back at it and see where we get then. So, but that's about all I got for you. When it happened to me, I think the adrenaline turns off your hearing. That's a great point too. Maybe it's physiological. You just kind of shut down and just become hyper focused. But it's not like there's no sound. It's just like the natural sounds. Now, I've experienced that one time that I remember when the forest just goes quiet. And I've shared this story. It's when I was called up to help out at a friend's house. His wife and little baby were home alone, and he was traveling. And she called and said, there's something wrong with the dog. He won't shut up, and he's barking like crazy. Can you come up? So I got in my car. It was like 11 at night in the summertime, and went up to the mountain house. And it was actually the same location where I was staying when I saw the UFO, to be honest with you. So I was up there, and the dog was going crazy. I got out of the car and was like, I didn't ever go in the house. I just stayed outside, and I got the dog settled down. I grabbed this like big stick because I didn't have anything else. I'm like, what the hell's going on? But the forest was just quiet. The whole forest around the place was absolutely quiet. There wasn't a sound, not a cricket, nothing. But there was still sound. I could still hear. I could hear my footsteps. I could hear the dog panting, but there was just no sounds. And everything just felt heavy. Like I felt like I was being observed, but I couldn't tell you what was observing me. It was just maybe a mountain lion was checking out the dog and like, or maybe it was a grizzly. I mean, there's grizzly around here, and or maybe it was a Bigfoot. Who the hell knows? But anyway, crazy stuff. Maybe catch everyone on Wednesday. Hope so, Grandizer. Good to see you all. Killing Reality came in. Good to see you. No wind sound or anything. Yeah, sometimes it's crazy. Like even the forest seems to just hold its breath. That's a creepy silence. But anyway, that's going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all for being here and being a part of the journey. As always, remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Let other people know about the show if you like the show and you're going to get subscribed and follow and become a part of the family. Thank you so much. Join the Discord. Watch for the podcast. They get released on every Monday. Brand new episode coming up this week. My interview with Ron Felber. Great guy. And we had a great discussion about the similarities between phenomena. And it was really, really powerful discussion. So I hope you guys check it out. That'll be released on Monday. And got the video podcast episode I'll be posting tomorrow of my interview with Barry from Western New York, and that one's a good one as well. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me tonight. Good night, everybody. Take care. Yeah, thanks, Roman. Good night, brother. And good night to all of you. Brent, if you could live before... What? If you could live live... Oh, go live before Fade to Black Radio. Yeah, I'm not going to change my schedule for Fade to Black Radio, but, hopefully you can be here. If not, then I understand. Watch the replays. Anyway, good night, everybody. That's all we got. Take care. I'm going to roll the credits.